Before we begin, we like to share a quick disclaimer. Today's session is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to replace professional medical or mental health advice, diagnosis, or treatment. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis or need immediate assistance, please call 911 or contact the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988. We hope today's conversation provides helpful information, practical tools, and encourages you to seek professional support if needed.
La información que se presenta hoy es únicamente con fines educativos e informativos. No sustituye la atención, el diagnóstico ni el tratamiento de un profesional de la salud o de la salud mental. Si usted o alguien que conoce está pasando por una crisis de salud mental, llame al 911 o comuníquese a la línea 988 para recibir ayuda inmediata.
Hello and welcome back to Bienestar. My name is Joel Castro and I am the program coordinator by National California. I hope that you enjoyed our last session and found the information valuable. More importantly, I hope that you have been able to apply some of these strategies and tools we discuss in your daily life. Please remember that you're not alone in this journey. If you need additional support, have questions about any of the topics we have covered, or would like to be connected to the community resources, I encourage you to contact me using the information provided below, and I would be happy to assist you. Thank you for continuing to be part of the Bienestar program. We are excited to have you back, and I hope you enjoy today's topic.
Hello everyone, hola, bienvenido a todos. Gracias por su participación en las sesiones previas, recordándoles que somos el programa de Strengthening Protective Factors for Families, fortaleciendo las fortalezas y factores de protección de la familia. But, I mean, obviously, we're going to have a beautiful doctor coming up soon. So you guys are going to be so happy to have a doctor like Mackenzie. Mackenzie, thank you for joining.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here today. Thank you, National, and just everyone for supporting this program. I'm really excited to talk a little bit about self-esteem and how I came to be a person with the stethoscope and with the shiny crown sometimes.
Yes. So feel free to start whenever. We are doing these sessions so we can help our community.
My name is Mackenzie Saephanh. I'm Miss City of Fresno 2026 in the Miss America Opportunity, a scholarship organization for women, the largest scholarship organization for women in the nation. I've been competing since 2023, and this is my second title. I work for UCSF Fresno Mobile Heal. I'm a master's in public health student at UC Berkeley, and I'm also a future physician. And that comes with a lot of titles. And you would think that with that, I must have been one of the most confident, self-assured, high self-esteem people growing up my entire life. That is very far from the truth. And I think I want to start it off by saying self-esteem and confidence are not something that you just wake up with one day and there you go, you're off, you're set, you're good for life. It's something that you have to build, and it's something that takes a lot of courage. It's something that even to this day, I'm still continuously working on and trying to remind myself of. But it's also something that comes with a lot of life experience, sometimes trials and tribulations and outcomes that don't go the way that we expected. Sometimes, if you want to say failures, just being able to build upon that. And I think a lot of where my background stems from is kind of what helped me build to get to the point that I'm at now. And so I'd be happy to talk about that. So I was born and raised in Merced, California. Small town here in the Central Valley. I'm the daughter of Yumian refugees. I have 8 older siblings. I grew up on Medi-Cal and food stamps and disability, and both my parents had a lot of health complications growing up. So I had to stay home and help them. And growing up, I experienced a lot of times where I didn't see a lot of people that looked like me, spoke my native language. I had to translate for my parents a lot. I was put in ELD classes up until the 2nd grade. And a lot of those things are things that can sometimes make you feel inadequate growing up in this space, right? Like you feel this lack of belonging because you're almost being separated from everyone else and all your peers and your classes, especially at such pretty important ages in our primary education ages. So that kind of impacted me. And then I move on to high school, and I find a little bit of my grounding. I'm in AP classes. I got an internship. I graduated as a salutatorian. I commit to Fresno State as a computer science major, which I know is different from where I'm currently at. But a lot of those didn't really come as easily as I would hope they'd be. And even at Fresno State, my first year of college was really hard. My mom was going through a heart operation, so I'll admit I was missing a lot of classes. I was at a very low mental health point, and I was also on academic probation. And when you're on academic probation, that essentially means that my GPA was below a 2.0. And I had to take a semester off, get my bearings straight. And of course, during that time, my self-esteem is at an all-time low. I'm falling behind my peers. I'm having to deal with a low GPA, and I'm on the fence of getting kicked out of Fresno State, which, a 4-year degree and a bachelor's degree is something that I'd always known that I'd wanted to pursue. And here I am just right on the fence at possibly losing that opportunity. And it's scary. Again, take a semester off, actually go back as nursing, because I knew I was really interested in the clinical field, and having helped my parents so often, I knew that I had a passion for caring for others. And I thought that it was way too late for me to try to be a doctor, because a lot of the people that were pursuing that career path had done it their entire life. So again, back to self-esteem and self-confidence. At that point, I didn't have the belief in myself to go forth and pursue that, because I thought I was too late. I thought I was behind everyone else, and there was no way that I could do it and catch up. But lo and behold, after a semester of nursing courses, I take the leap of faith. I realize that time's going to pass anyways. If it's going to pass, I might as well spend it doing something that I'm really passionate about doing. So I do that. There is when it comes to switching majors, computer science and the biology degree have no real correlating classes. So I essentially had to start my college degree all over again. And just the thought of having to extend my bachelor's degree a whole other year, so instead of 4 years, I'd be finishing in 5. Of course, that is another shot to my self-esteem and my confidence and just my overall self-worth of, wow, like now I'm falling behind all of my friends that I grew up with. And while I'm watching them graduate and celebrate, I'm like, well, here I am still stuck in it. But we'll get more into that. There's a point where I'm working 3 jobs, and I'm taking 25 to 28 units, and I'm working full-time during the pandemic, but I'm able to show an upward trajectory. I start getting the opportunities that I'd always strived for, which include research, internship opportunities, scribing for doctors, working at and volunteering at UCSF Fresno Mobile Hill. And that eventually ends with me getting a 5.0. My 5-year career ends with me getting a 4.0 GPA, and I get my bachelor's degree in biology and a double minor in physical science and psychology. I work full-time at UCSF Fresno here, where I've had the opportunity to connect and meet with incredible people like Binational and Claudia. And I have been there ever since, and I get to serve my community and further my passion for healthcare and meeting people where they're at and wanting to become a physician that serves our community, especially being able to serve the community that invested so much in me. On top of that, my passion for public health stems from Mobile Hill. So I applied to programs at Berkeley, which had always been my dream school, but that was a dream that I had to shoot down in my undergraduate career. But here I am. I'm a health policy and management concentration. I'm a rural health innovation scholar. So I was able to get a full ride scholarship for my master's, and I'm a rural policy fellow. So I was able to get a fully funded program and trip to Washington, D.C., where I was able to meet with government committees and federal agencies to advocate for rural healthcare and essentially be the representation for Central Valley voices and what we need in our healthcare systems. And again, this is all coming from the person who, at the beginning of my college career, had no idea or just was not self-assured, did not feel like I was on the right path, felt like I was constantly falling behind. But I think the main thing and the biggest pivotal lesson that I really learned that helped my confidence and self-esteem in all of this was I need to stop focusing on being brave. I think when we do, or sorry, not being brave, I need to stop focusing on being perfect. Because when it came to chasing a lot of this, I thought I had to meet, if you think about it in a list of requirements and criteria, in order to become that doctor, to apply to Berkeley, to get the job at UCSF, to be in the Miss America opportunity, I thought it meant that I had to check every single box. And until I checked every single box, that I wasn't going to be worthy of doing that. But that's not true. The only thing that I had to do was actually believe in myself and be brave enough to do it. Be brave enough to be the person that was willing to step outside the box and do that. And again, being an Indian American woman, that often meant that I would be the first of my ethnicity stepping into these spaces, which is another scary factor. There's not a lot of representation. And another thing that I had to learn was I can't always wait for representation. Sometimes I have to become that person. And being in the Miss America opportunity. So again, I'm current Miss City of Fresno 2026. I was formerly Miss Madera County. I've competed for the title of Miss California 2 years in a row. I just came back from competing for Miss California for the second time. I've received Miss Congeniality Awards. I've received a Golden Positivity Community Service Awards during my time. And I've received so much support and scholarships and so many connections. But, in that, one thing that I really like to tell myself, being one of the first Indian American women to step in this space and how I've been able to push through that was I might be one of the first, but I'll never be the last. Because I was able to overcome a lot of my fears and kind of face the music and step outside of the box and do that. There's, hopefully, maybe, fingers crossed, now there's going to be a long line of other Asian women who will see the things that I've done and the foundation that I've hopefully been able to lay down and will want to follow along those same steps. And that's what I'm hopeful for. But again, none of this comes easy.
No, and I don't know if you heard yourself, but if our participants that are hearing this topic realize that you said at the beginning, I started as an ELD student and I didn't have representation, and you were below 2.0. And I know a lot of teenagers are watching and they might feel like they're at a low point. I started as an ELD student as well, and when you're learning English and all they're teaching you is ABC, 1, 2, 3, and the colors, like you said, it really puts a setback in your self-esteem, the topic of today, because you thought you were like I don't know, for example, in my country, I was already in 6th grade, but when I came to the US, I was again in pre-K. So to you, like being a 2.0 and all these big dreams that you had, you couldn't see the possibility of becoming what you wanted because you were below 2.0. You didn't see anyone else doing it. So you just did a full circle because you became the representation that you were looking for. And at times, that's all you need to, what you're saying is that, or what we're trying to say, is that self-esteem, it's built of what you keep going and doing.
Exactly.
And it'll come after. So don't wait for you to have self-esteem first to do it, because you're not going to have it. Even now, I feel like we reach to a level of self-esteem and then something comes up.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, wait, I don't have the self-esteem for that specific thing. But as long as you keep going, you will find it. So I feel like a self-esteem is almost like, have you seen the little cartoon picture where you're just following like the prize?
Yes.
So basically that's self-esteem. You are never, you sometimes catch up to it, but then it leaves you behind again.
Yes.
And that only means that you're growing. I don't know if you agree with me.
1000%. I think every single time I came across a new barrier, so from elementary school to high school to college to my graduate school to now getting ready and applying to medical school, which like even then, you look at how far I've come, like I'm still facing setbacks. We're being in Berkeley and I'm opening this letter that is like another pivotal and defining factor in that, and then opening it and seeing I don't have the results that I wanted, like that hurt. like I had to step away and like I cried a little bit to myself because I was like, okay, great. You know, maybe I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. Maybe I'm not. Yeah.
And in moments like that, how do you get back to the self-esteem that you built up until then? How do you get back to that? How do you come back to your center?
Yeah, great question. Just talking to like my sisters and everything and getting their support. So first thing I did was lean on my support system. My closest friends, my family, you know who your inner circle is. And you know
who you are.
Yes, exactly. Who will help remind you, bring you back when sometimes it's hard to bring yourself back into that. And then the second thing was also relying on myself, you know. The only person, like I can receive all the support from my community possible, but at the end of the day, the one person who is your biggest advocate and is going to be the one that pulls you out of those darkest moments is yourself. Mm-hmm. So I had to sit back, and this is where the holding myself accountable sets in. And I had to say, okay, so this is what we have to deal with. What are the downsides to this? Well, the only downside is that I'll be a year older. And it just didn't work out the way that I wanted to. And is that really a negative? Not really. And I had to think, okay, so now, and then of course it was like, well, what led to this decision? Well, Mackenzie, you didn't study the way that you knew you should have. And you knew that going into this, you were kind of going into this blind. So of course, like that's going to be a result. Like I had to hold myself accountable for that. And then it was like, okay, what are the positives to this? Well, now I get to space out my studying. I won't be as stressed. I'll have less on my plate because Miss California will be done. I'll be giving up my title. I'll, be at the tail end of my master's program. So when I'm applying next year, I don't have anything along the lines of that to worry about. Like I can fully focus on the medical school portion of my life. And if I have more time, I actually get to enjoy life. Like I'll be able to spend more time and be present with my friends and family. Again, my support system that helped lift me up when I'm down. I get to spend more time investing in them and myself. And those are the positives to that. And it was still a decision that was a little hard to sit with, especially because I had already told so many people, I'm applying.
Like JK, a little setback. But
exactly.
You know what? Just like you mentioned, it's just a little setback, but it's not in a stop to what your plan is.
Yes.
So now moving a little bit towards the Miss America portion, because as we know, all women in history compare with each other. How was it for you and your self-esteem being surrounded by many other women that are, competing for the same thing to be Miss America? And how did you deal with, or did you had any insecurities when you were there?
Oh, so many, and all the time. So my full background of me with the Miss America opportunities, I had grown up with girls who competed in Miss America. In middle school and high school, I had friends that were winning the local title. So again, in Merced, it was Miss Merced County's teen, Miss Merced County. So many of my friends did that. And I had always thought like, oh, how cool. But one, I knew my family couldn't financially support me doing that. And two, again, we looked nothing alike. I was shorter. I had dark hair, darker features. I looked nothing like them. Like I was like, that's not something that's for me, not something I can do. And I wasn't able to pursue that until I became an adult and until Miss America increased their age range. It used to be 24, 25, and then they extended it to 28. And that's when I was like, cool, I'm in, I can afford it now. But again, stepping into that wasn't easy. Like I'm a curvier woman. I still now things have changed a little bit where it's definitely like a more diverse group, but I was still on the curvier side, still was the first Umian woman doing this. And it was terrifying. But I think at the end of the day, I had to sit back and say, well, you know what? I've done things that I'm proud of. At that point, I had already had my bachelor's degree. I already knew that I was confident pursuing a career as a physician. And those were things that no one could take away from me, right? Those were things that I knew were set in stone in myself and in my heart. And I went forward knowing that. At least in saying, even if I don't look like all the rest, like I still have these qualities about me that no one can change. And I think that's something else that's important. I'm like, and if everyone wants you, what are 3 things in the comments? Like, what are 3 things that you know for sure that no one can ever take away from you, regardless? Whether that's like, oh, like I have the longest, thickest hair, you have your bachelor's degree, you've received some type of award, like 3 things as a reminder to yourself, because that's exactly how I went into this the first time I competed. And obviously I didn't win. I didn't win, but it felt nice to have taken that. And so the phases of competition in Miss America, the first is a private interview and with a panel of judges. And the judges are usually really big community leaders within that area. So it was like a panel of like officers and city officials and people who like run businesses in Merced. That's what the panels are usually like at each level. So whether it's in Fresno, whether it's Miss California, Miss America, sometimes you get celebrities at Miss America, which is really cool, but that's what it's like. And they're going to ask you really hard-hitting questions.
So what are 3 things that helped you stay grounded and stay in a good self-esteem stage?
The lessons I learned slide, just to read them off really quickly, because it's more than 3, but these are really just a list of things I have to remind myself whenever my confidence does feel low. But again, be brave, not perfect. You do not have to be perfect to go after that opportunity. You just need to be brave and have the courage and believe and advocate for yourself, especially if you're scared that no one else will. You cannot advocate for others if you can't do it for yourself. So be brave. Do it. Your background is not a disadvantage, it's your strength. Again, being a daughter of refugees, coming from disadvantaged low-income communities, growing up in a low-income household myself, that was never a disadvantage. It is my strength and has become my strength and is a part of my story and the reason why I feel so passionate about the things that I do. Comparison is the thief of joy. It's so easy to look at other people, especially from me being in the Miss America opportunity, me pursuing a career as a doctor, to look at other people, see the things that they've done, the dresses they have, all those things, and to compare myself to them. But the moment you do that, you take away everything that you've ever accomplished. And just, it's hard. It's inevitable. Comparison happens. But always try to look at yourself in the mirror too and give yourself that pat on the back. Again, it's hard to completely avoid it, but always remember how far you've come. A dream delayed is not a dream denied. I didn't get into Berkeley when I wanted to. Medical school isn't happening at the time that I wanted to, but just because it's not happening right now doesn't mean it's not going to happen in the future. I didn't get to go to Berkeley for undergrad, but now I'm at Berkeley for graduate school on a full ride scholarship. I don't get to apply to medical school this year, but hopefully next year I'll get to apply and go to my dream school and be able to have my tuition fully funded. Still I rise. That's a quote from Maya Angelou. And if you were to go and look up that poem, it's a lot about empowerment, especially woman empowerment. And it's about always overcoming when people want to call us emotional or say that we're this and that. It's about always rising and overcoming that, overcoming the barriers. And then again, the most important thing that I learned is you do not have to wait for representation to happen. Sometimes you have to become the representation. And in order to do that, it takes every single thing right before that, to be perfect, rising above all odds. I think those are the biggest things that I remind myself when it really comes to when I need that reminder of my self-esteem and confidence. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us, Mackenzie. And one last thing. What would you say to Mackenzie 15 years ago?
Ooh, I think I would tell her, I might get a little emotional during this. You're going to make mistakes. Life, things that you pursue won't work out the way that you wanted them to, but that's okay. And I don't think that you should want to change anything about how things turned out or about yourself, because it's all going to work out in the end. You're going to work hard. You're going to have your support system, and everything will work out better than you could have ever imagined it to, even though it's really hard to see right now. it's hard to see that like wall in front of you when things are working out the way that you want to, but there is a beyond, and it's gonna be even better than you could have ever imagined.
That's amazing, because now you are a representation for little girls that look like you, and we are so proud of you. And I want to thank you so much for being here with us and sharing not only your positivity, but also everything that it took for you to become the person that you are now. And it's not sometimes when we have low self-esteem is because sometimes we have envy, and we think that, oh, she has all that and a bag of chips, right? But you don't know what they went through. So now, hopefully now hearing your story, they know that it didn't come easy. It was a journey. It was a hard path. It's been ups and downs. But at the end of the day, the only difference between you and other people as more or even more talented than you is that you never stopped believing in yourself. You were brave. You became the representation, and you only compete with yourself. And I can attest that because you're a girl's girl, and you helped me did my presentation. I remember when I was so nervous, and you were like, you can do this. Like, we need more people like you in this world, because at times, other people like, oh, you may see that I'm the VP of an org. I still have insecurities. I still had to seek out for other people that are better at speaking in public, and I seek for help, and I got it. So that's maybe all you have to do. Maybe you just seek for other people that have that experience. Look for mentors, and support a support system that has your best interests at heart.
Exactly. Yeah. And they'll come to you. And it's always an uphill battle. Like, I'm still coming across things every single day where I have to build myself back out or find a way to overcome it and build my self-esteem still. But it's not anything that's impossible. Everything's actually very impossible. And sometimes you just have to break it down minute by minute, second by second to figure out how to overcome it. And if that's what it takes, then so be it. Just do it. Believe in yourself.
Yes, that's the best. That's the best advice we can give to everyone here. So thank you so much, Mackenzie, again.
You.
And we will see you around.
And feel free to contact me, reach out at any point in time. I have my Instagram. Unfortunately, Miss City of Fresno, once October comes around, I will be passing that on to my successor, but I'm sure she'll also be interested in reaching out. But if you ever just have questions or just need someone to give you a good chat or word of encouragement, please feel free to reach out. Instagram, email, however you like. But it has been an honor to be here today and spending time with you all. Thank you so much. And I hope if, even if it's not exactly my own story, like there's something in here that was said that people can take and just use to help them build up themselves.
Yes, I'm sure it will. So thank you so much. And please remember that we're going to have more sessions. Every Wednesday we have sessions released. So if you're taking the sessions with us and this was your session number 7, congratulations to you. Keep going. You're 12, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 5 sessions. 5 sessions away from completing this. You can do this, and you're going to learn so much along the way. So remember, keep pushing, and thank you for being a binational participant. See you next time. Go binational. Woo!
Thank you for joining us for today's Bienestar session. I hope this information, discussions we shared today provided you with the valuable tools and insights that you can apply in your daily life. As always, if you have any questions about today's topic or would like additional support, please feel free to contact us at our information below. On behalf of Binational California and First 5, thank you for your participation and commitment to your well-being. See you next time.